Remember when we were talking about that process taking like 30 days? Yeah, 30 days. Wow. What were we thinking? It makes me laugh every time I think about that. But then again, I know that a lot of times you go through a well thought out process. I compare it to the time that when I first showed interest in the club, and that was like on Labor Day of 2017, and I went through, I watched the Yankees in the playoffs, a whole football season, and a Super Bowl before I started here in March. So that was well thought out work, I hope. So the process started, and we had series of inspections. Now, in addition to that, the club, we brought in an independent appraiser to work on a separate appraisal. The bank lending institution had an appraisal done. Now the due diligence, and Sabina in a few minutes will talk about the findings, but we had a lot of professional assessments that made up the due diligence. We had 5 reports for the structure, and 2 septic evaluations, an oil inspection, a pool report, a phase 1 environmental, a title insurance, and then the 2 appraisals. And the culmination of all that produced this, double-sided, all these reports. We presented a summary of that a couple of weeks ago in the 30-page document. And now I will have Sabina talk through the inspections, the results, and our findings.
Okay, so during this process, as was mentioned, first off, we had several residential and just structural inspections done. And that had actually presented several items of repair that are really found to be needed to be done within the first year of operation. The most significant are actually listed here, and several have to do with the residential buildings. It's the deck work that's attached to these structures, one section of roofing, a couple of walkway repairs throughout the site. Just to fix up any possible hazards for tripping and make sure that everything is ADA compliant. We also have various retaining walls that are on the site if you've been there. A couple of them do need to have some repair work done on them the first year. There's some minor floor work that needs to be done in the pump room, and then the septic system for the pool kitchen has to be addressed too. This again, all of these are listed as being the first year of operation requirements or needed repairs. What we would, or what we have actually negotiated to be completed prior to closing is actually the radon remediation as well as mold remediation. A radon system and mold remediation is to be completed again prior to closing, and this will be done by the owner. And at that point, this was also the entire process was also the basis of the facilities capital reserve plan. So similar to what we have established for the rest of the reservation, that is this will be the basis for that plan.
So that process of due diligence was the basis for our negotiation. Our findings gave us an opportunity to revisit with the seller the original contract price, which was an as-is price, and negotiate $150,000 from that original price. So it was $1,150,000. So we were able to negotiate $150,000 from that price, and that is after receiving the results of the 2 appraisals. So the bank appraised the property at $1.1 million, and the independent appraisal was for $1,350,000. Now, although we negotiate the 150 as a result of work that needed to be done, work needed to be done. And so we need to, that needs to be a component of the loan. And it's important to stress that what Sabina said is that mold remediation and the radon will be taken care of by the owner before we close. It is budgeted in that $150,000 that we negotiated out, and it has a cap in our budget of $150,000. 15,000. So anything in excess, we're protected that the seller needs to take care of any excess, and we will be able to review the process along the way. So it's very important that that is complete and done if we take ownership. The pool operation plan. If you had the opportunity to look through the summary report, we went into a lot of detail on this. First, we're extending the season from what was normally presented over the last couple of years, something what I would call a true swim club or club environment, where we're opening on Memorial Day weekends through June until the kids get out of school, and then 7 days a week. We feel that, I think if it's part of our community, then the community, we should be community centric, and the fees that we present are drastically reduced from what was the fee structure previously. In addition, one of the popular questions, and I've talked about it often, is what do I get for $86? What do I get for my $86 if